Hey, what's up? This is Seafood Gus. Thank you guys for all the love that we've been getting on the YouTube channel. Once again, I know that I don't put a lot of content out, but we're in here trying to improve ourselves in the system. So I really appreciate that this is very helpful. I'm glad that you vets are really finding some understanding in this, and as you guys have donated yourself to our country, and at least the little bit I can give back is also a wonderful thing for you guys. So today we're going to be talking about the cane. Some of you guys have been liking the ideas about the cane. And the other thing too is some of you guys who aren't vets saying, I'm getting older and I'm starting to walk with a cane. This is for you as well. One of the things that I'd like to pride myself on is something that's simple and something that's practical. Also, I'd like to educate you on parts of the body. Today, we're going to be talking about the liver, right? And how to strike the liver and why to strike the liver. And there's so many other ways we can do this, and we'll do other videos about it. And then you can watch some of the other videos that are on the channel as well. But today we're going to be talking about the liver, and we're going to talk about how you can disable the body. However, I want to address something. I know it gets confusing in the YouTube world out there with all these instructors like, don't use this, don't listen to that guy. Here's the reality is it comes down to mindfulness. It comes down to practice. It comes down to understanding what you're capable of. And if you need to build on that, maybe get a little bit stronger, as I advise some of my clients, I said, then do so. Your self-protection is extremely important, and you don't have to be, a young stud to be able to, get yourself out of these situations and get home safe to your family. So it's important. So the goal is, understanding how to use this information in a practical setting. So before we get started with the liver, I want you guys to listen to this young lady talk about the liver and what happens if you strike it and different things like that. Okay?
Things to think about if you strike someone in the liver for self-defense. The liver is a vital organ, tucked neatly under your ribs, but a heavy blow can cause a traumatic liver injury. First, the liver's delicate tissues tear, leading to internal bleeding. This triggers pain receptors and sends a wave of agony through the abdomen. Next, the body goes into overdrive. The heart rate spikes, trying to pump blood and keep them conscious. Blood pressure drops, making them feel dizzy and weak. The skin might turn pale and clammy as the body struggles to manage the blood loss. In severe cases, the attacker could go into shock, a life-threatening condition. Quick medical intervention is crucial. Remember, the liver is a great target, and that's what can make it a great strike for self-defense. Stay safe.
Okay, so as you guys know, I love the cane master canes. I think they're very practical for what I use it for. And we also teach cane fighting in our program as well. So, and once again, even in our program, it is still practical. We use what's practical, how to get to the information from a practical perspective, and then how to make it efficient and effective. And those things are extremely, extremely important when you start dealing with something like the cane. A lot of you guys have asked about, well, what happens if someone grabs a cane? What happens if someone close distance? And some of those I've addressed in other videos. I may address it again in this video, just because the more you can hear it from an auditory perspective, the more you can input it into your body and then act upon it when you need or in your practice. But I will say practice, practice, practice. Not that you need to, do 9 hours of cane practice, but just be mindful of where your cane is, how do you get to your cane, and different things like that. We've talked about that in other videos, but those things are extremely, extremely important. So today I have the crew. I have Brian helping me, I have Bao, and I have Christy helping me. And so you'll see them in certain parts of the video and some other videos in the future. But as you are on the channel, thank you guys. Please like and subscribe and share this with someone who you think, it may not be for you. You may be, 20, athletic and healthy, but it may be for someone who's, a little bit older, who's walking with a cane. So every time I'm weird, every time I walk past a person with a cane, I want to walk up to them and go, you know what you can do with that thing? But I try not to be the weird guy in public. So we're going to go ahead and start with the first thing that I think you can do with getting to the liver. Okay, first of all, before we get started, I want you guys to read my shirt. This was a gift that was given to me. Tim, if you're watching this, thank you. Fun. So we're going to be talking about the liver. That's what this whole episode is about, is how to attack vital targets, and the liver is the one we're talking about here. And if you've ever seen a boxing match where someone takes a liver shot, you watch them go down. And liver shots, boxers will ask any boxer, they'll tell you about the liver strike and why it's so efficient and so effective. And you just listen to what happens if you strike the liver relatively hard. And you don't have to hit it super, super hard, relatively hard, and all this damage can take place. So these, as you guys are practicing, think about vital targets, think about the anatomy of the body. Write in, let me know what you think about this. Okay, so first thing is what happens. So we're only going to deal with two things today, because once again, I want to keep it simple and something practical, something you can think about, something that you can actually use once you leave. And once again, on YouTube, there's going to be people who say, don't ever do that. And there's going to be people who say, oh, that's a good idea. I don't really care. I care that it helps you. That's all I care about. Okay. All right. So first thing, what happens if a person goes to grab? So you remember we talked about holding the cane like this and grabbing it, right? And see how both of my hands are down? So I'm going to kind of roll with this hand and opposite roll with this hand. So I'm going to go this way, or I'm going to go this way. So if Brian goes to throw, right, I'm going to go here. Well, now here's the liver. Now I'm going to drive right into it, right? Now you can actually then go and hit to the head if you want to, or whatever thing that helps you get out of that situation. But here's what I've learned. The more pain you can cause in a quick instant, the easier it is for you to get out of the attack, right? And if you can disable the body at the same time and cause pain, then that's a wonderful, wonderful thing for you. Okay, so one more time. So here, Brian throws. I block it that way. I move myself. See, I've bent my knees a little bit. We talked about that in the last video. And there's the liver right there on the right-hand side. Remember, the liver is center to the right. Center and to the right. Right? The rib cage is up here. Right? The liver is, part of it's protected, but you saw it in the video earlier. Okay, so one more time. So Brian's going to throw. I'm going to go one, and there it is right there. Boom. Okay, drive right into it. And see, I can slide my hand up like a baseball bat, bam, and hit to the head. Right? Once again, not fancy. This is about safety and get out of there. We'll do some fancier videos another time, and those are a lot of fun. Okay, the other one is, what happens if someone goes to grab your cane? Because sometimes people will address what they think is the most dangerous. They don't view you as the danger. They may view the weapon you're holding, right? So what I'm going to do is if I'm in a situation where there's a threat, I always start to prepare my body for that threat way before it happens, right? So if Brian goes to reach for my cane, I'm going to move his hand out the way, right? So now if I want to get to the liver, I'm going to move his hand this way. Okay, I go here, move his hand that way, and now I'm out of the way, boom, and there's his liver again, right? And if I want to hit to the groin and then hit to the head, all those things are very valid, right? So if he goes to grab, I go, ha, 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 you go to the eye, you go to wherever you want to go, and that's how you play with targeting. Targeting is extremely important, especially, once again, as we're not 20 anymore, right? Remember, I like to help people who are 50 and older, 40 and older if you want. But at the same time, the reality at the end of the day is once we start getting to an age where our body starts submitting to time, and you know what that is, if you've been writing into me, you know what that is. But it doesn't mean that we can't do any of this, right? The goal is to learn it, to put it in our body, and hopefully we never have to use it, but it also is great fitness. Right? Don't do anything, Brian. If I just practice, boom, for those of you guys who want movement in your body, this helps your bones, this helps your muscles, this helps your nervous system, this helps your lymphatic system. So there's so many benefits to just a simple practice. Actually, I'm in the process of working on a video that you guys can purchase from my website, thevillagewithgusgates.com, in the future about just simple practice. And they're drills that you can practice for fitness that relates to the videos that we've been talking about. Okay, so one more time. Brian will try to grab the cane. I'm going to knock his hand out the way, and boom. Now, some of you guys are like, why not the head? Well, because we're talking about the liver. But if you saw the head, that is awesome, right? That is what we're talking about. But let's give you a little fun for that. He grabs, boom. I poke to the eye, and there's the liver right there, and then there's the temple right there, right? So these are just fun ideas in which you can play. I know some of the haters will talk about, oh, you're making it dangerous for people. But this has been helping some of the people who've been writing in, and I'm glad it helps. And I don't really care about what the haters think. It's just not my world. I do this to help people, and because people have helped me. And there's so many things you can do with this. Now, the other thing too, let's talk about hooking the liver. Now, my cane, Master Cane, has a little sharp hook. I don't know if you can see this, but it has a little sharp hook on it. And I love that. So let me get Brian here. So let's say, I'm actually turning the other way, this way. So I'm going to turn toward the camera here. So see how the cane comes here? So if I want to hook into the liver, I can hook into the liver and pull him that way. Now people are like, well, that's brutal. Yeah, guess what? If he's 20 and I'm 80, guess what? I need brutality to be able to get home safe. I don't need simple self-defense, and I need to understand that I need to get to him and harm him and get home, right? So when you're talking about safety and self-protection, the idea for you is to get home safe. This is survival. For you vets, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is about survival and getting home. I don't need to kill Brian, but if I have to disable him, I will. And I'm going to disable him the best and the most effective way I can. So remember, share this with people, like and subscribe. I hope something I said resonates with you. I hope that we will be doing more videos in the future. I just can't tell you how many, but we will be doing some because I love that this is helping you guys. And my goal here, I don't make money from YouTube. I don't do any of that at this point, but I do love helping people. So we got some stuff coming up in the future. Thank you guys for also finding me on my website and emailing me. This helps and are liking it. Cool. Share it with people. Let people know that they don't have to walk around scared and afraid and vulnerable and all that stuff. There's ways that they can protect themselves in their 70s and their 80s. All right? We'll see you soon.